it is important that some clear statements are put out by British Muslims about what is at present going on in northern Iraq. And this has become even more imperative because of the ghastly crime committed yesterday and the fact that the perpetrator of it may well have been from Britain. There has been a great deal of misinformation put out about the nature of what is happening at the moment in northern Iraq, often suggesting that what is going on there is in some way a real expression of Islam. News reports come flooding in on an hourly basis concerning the ongoing outrages of the group who call themselves the Islamic State. This is an absolute misnomer. They are not Islamic, nor are they a state. What they are is Khawarij. The term Khawarij is the plural of the Arabic word Khariji, meaning someone who has gone out. It was originally applied to a group who left the main body of the Muslims and adopted an extreme and deviated position very early on in the history of Islam. Such groups have emerged time and time again throughout Islamic history, and this group in Syria and Iraq are just another example of this repeating pattern. Khawarij are characterized by their rejection of properly constituted Islamic authority and their claim that anyone who does not agree with them cannot be considered a Muslim. In their eyes, this gives them the right to kill anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, who goes against them, in absolute opposition to the teachings of Islam. They gained ascendancy in Syria not by fighting against the tyrant Bashar Assad, but by killing many members of the Muslim groups who were genuinely engaged in the struggle against him. And their rampage through Iraq has seen them slaughter communities and populations that lived peacefully and protected under Muslim rule for many, many centuries. Their barbaric and brutal behavior has nothing whatsoever to do with Islam. Their claim to be applying the Sharia, the just and merciful legal parameters of Islam, is a travesty, ignoring all previous precedents of the correct implementation of Islamic law. Their claim to be fulfilling the precepts of Islam is a lie and must be refuted by all Muslims everywhere. First of all, I would earnestly counsel any young British Muslim who may feel drawn to join this group, or who may have been persuaded to do so by their propaganda or someone recruiting for them, to have absolutely nothing to do with them at all, and on no account to travel abroad to meet them. It is clear that these people are not rightly guided. It is almost certain that anyone who does join them will find himself having to fight and kill Muslims and innocent civilians, and therefore facing terrible consequences for himself, both in this world and the next. It is clear that this group of Khawarij owes its present preeminence to the abject failure of America and Europe to back up their promise of support for the legitimate resistance groups in Syria in their hour of need. It created a power vacuum at the heart of the Syrian opposition and fostered the cancerous growth of this hideous offshoot from its most extreme elements. Those now so stridently decrying the terrible events taking place in Iraq were therefore, in a way, directly responsible for bringing them about in the first place. This fact must be faced. It makes it incumbent on those who failed then to now do everything in their power to destroy this monster. It will mean reinforcing the Peshmerga, the Kurdish army, who are at present the only viable military force in Iraq, by supplying them with arms and training and giving them whatever air and other support they need to defeat these Khawarij while they remain on Iraqi soil. It will also mean following them right back to their lair, to their headquarters in Syria, and stamping them out there on their home ground, using whatever means are necessary to achieve that aim. Otherwise, history shows us that these people will continue their indiscriminate slaughter until there is no one left for them to kill. They will then turn on themselves and kill one another until there is no one left. But this will not happen until thousands of innocents have died. Another recent example of this terrible phenomenon was the Algerian GIA in the 1990s. They are reckoned to have massacred tens of thousands of ordinary, innocent Algerian citizens before they finally tore themselves to pieces by infighting in the early 2000s. This present group of Khawarij, who call themselves IS, are following the same path and must be stopped, and stopped now, to prevent this happening again in Iraq and Syria.